D6.
I just thought I would, just kind of tell you a little bit about where I came from and what it means to run for District 6 and what I think my qualifications are. Maybe a little bit about what I would hope to do, although I don't want to take up a lot of time because for the most part, any politician is the speeches, right? So, but I do have you captive, so. So I'm 42 years old and I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've been HIV positive for over 20 years now. I moved to San Francisco 14 years ago and I started out in an SRO in the Tenderloin on GA, and I used Catholic Charities to help pay my rent, and I lived on about $200 a month while I put myself through beauty school. When I came out here, I put myself through beauty school, started working in a hair salon downtown, and then moved into another SRO in the Tenderloin as well. And then after a few years, I moved into my own apartment, and then I had back surgery, and I really had problems then, and had to get back to an SRO. So I've been in and out of SROs. I currently have been partnered for 4 years and live over here on 5th between Folsom and Harrison. And his name is Brett, and he is a scientist. He's a nanotechnologist. He works with nanoparticles, and he's creating screens for windows that direct light in to save energy. So he's working for the Department of Energy, and we live over there. In my first big house is a nice duplex, so we're really lucky. I'm feeling very blessed at this time. I stopped working in hair and became a full-time drag queen, working in a nightclub after I won Miss Tranny Shack in 2004. And drag has always been a very important way for me to convey messages and also to gain my strength and communicate with my community as well as other communities, because drag queens started the gay rights movement. They've always been there on the front line, and I really relish that history, and I really like being part of it. And I did a party on Polk, and we do the Take Back the Polk marches because we were not into the entire gentrification and driving my friends out of the neighborhood. So we did Take Back the Polk marches for visibility, and then Prop 8 passed, and after 42 years of criminalization, I just really, the anger and disappointment that I felt at that time really made me want to quit my job as a drag queen and change my life and follow my heart to do more. And as it came up and around, my job as a drag queen got taken away from me by the condo next door, complaining every night at 8 o'clock about the noise in the bar. It's been a bar since the 1800s. And to me, this is a signifier of what's happening in San Francisco and around the world and what bubble economies do. All this money to create housing for people who can bring in instant funds, but without any thought of sustainability or any kind of future plan, and definitely has very little to do with dignity and the integrity of the city. And along the way, I've started working a lot with the Community Housing Partnership. I've hosted their show a couple of times, their Night of 1,000 Stars, and I've done a lot of fundraising and a lot of organizing for them. So that's another reason why I'm getting into politics instead of just activism and fundraising, because it needs community involvement to fix the problems that we're running up against now. The community has the solutions. The community has the answers. I have to say I've gotten a lot of inspiration from the marijuana community and aspects of love in the organization. Every time you go down to the city hall, sit down on one of these things, the people are like, and these are what the forums should look like, and this is what the rules should be. And I like the idea of the POC community and how it's banded together to create dignity where there wasn't any, and taking control of how you want the business, how you want your hair, how you want your medicine. You're taking care of that, and that to me is really inspirational, and one of the reasons why I wanted to come here and just just sort of share with you a little bit. So I think that's all. I think if you have questions for me, I will answer some questions. So, yeah.
Do you have any experience in government? And one other question, maybe those hotels that you lived in were they're very corrupt organizations.
No, they were private SROs, and I do not have any actual government experience as far as like holding an elected position, although I have served on boards and I have been a board member of ACTA in New York in the 90s. So, yeah.
So the people that were non-profit SRO places are
Private.
privately owned or non-profit?
No, they were privately owned, both of them. The same people, they were a couple from India, and they just ran a really nice, a really nice, really nice.
There's one up to a private place like that, non-profit SRO places, private board donations that are being built there. Is there a chance that that's not bad?
Yeah, no, it was, this was really, that was like 14 years ago, and I was just kind of, I just went for whatever I could find at that time, because there was the big explosion of the .com era, and there was no internet, so I was lucky to find anything. But yes, that is a issue, like very board, and, accountability for these SROs, because I have a friend who lives over here on 6th, and when I go to see Bonnie, I'm really kind of shocked that this can go on in some SROs. There needs to be more accountability, and also more working in between, like the rent board and the organizations and government, because everyone's so separate, and the idea of community is to take care of the whole problem instead of just part of the problem, and that's one of the things that I would hope in my candidacy as well as, when I win. What I would do is like live with people.
From my experience dealing with this non-profit organization, actually there's different other organizations that we deal with these non-profit organizations. That's the first question I want to ask. We deal with non-profit organizations. A lot of things, we deal with private organizations and non-profit organizations we deal with. And we can give you advice and so on, but we can't really do much out there.
Right. Well, it's the same with housing, and we deal with housing for AIDS, we deal with housing for the elderly, we deal with, it's very segregated, and I think that's one of the problems we have with housing in general. It needs to be a little more integrated. And
So you say like housing for everybody?
Well,
There are a lot of special interests in the senior system. You get find a really good deal, and it's only for people who are 2 years older than I am now.
Right.
And I can't get in here 3 years too young. Or it's only for lyrics, or it's only for whatever, maybe
Right.
for a gay man.
this is, yes. There is some...
Yeah, so you're saying that housing spaces.
Yeah, first we need rent control, and then we need to go to the planning commission and figure out what they've been doing, selling all our property to the art academy. And
You mentioned about the drag queen movement, and I know a little bit about Stonewall, so I know a little bit, so I agree with what you said with that, definitely. But are you still able to perform the art of drag combined with what you're doing now? Are you still able to do that? Because that to me that would mean something to me on how I would vote for a person, because I think it would be really that's my question. So.
yeah, I don't want to sell out, and I don't want to pretend to be someone that I'm not, because that's, I think one of the great reasons that we have a problem in government now is trying to dumb ourselves down to the middle ground, and not expressing who we are and not rising to the occasion.